And amid all of this, an earthquake struck the country last week on October 5th. The epicenter was close to Semnan, a city in northern Iran. It wasn't a very big earthquake. The magnitude was around 4.5 on the Richter scale, so relatively minor, but there were some strong tremors. In fact, it was felt as far as Tehran.
Now, Iran's Civil Aviation Organization has announced all flights across Iran will be cancelled from 9 p.m. local time until 6 a.m. on Monday.
Next question from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Is there a concern that an earthquake last week in a remote location in Iran may have been a nuclear test? Thank you for that question, Joel. I've got nothing to add to that. That's the first I've heard of it.
At any other point in time, no one would care about something like this. But this one is different. And that's because of the timing.
Let's just break this down for you. As per reports, on the 6th of October, Iran suddenly and temporarily shut down its airspace. All flights from Iranian airports were reportedly cancelled from 9 p.m. on Sunday, October 6, until 6 a.m. the following Monday.
So are officials giving any indication of why this suspension has been declared?
Well, from the statement that we heard from the spokesperson for the Civil Aviation Organization, the restriction that has been imposed at the time being, which started nearly 45 minutes ago, is just because of sort of operational restriction, I'm quoting him, and just except for that, we don't have much details.
You see, on the 6th of October, Iran suddenly shut down its airspace starting 9 p.m. local time. Less than 2 hours later, Iran reported a 4.4 magnitude earthquake in a province located around 130 kilometers from Tehran. Seismic activity and military airspace closures at the same time. So, is this coincidence?
We see that now the Western airspace of Iran, according to some statistics that I have, is almost clear. We saw a very few limited number of international flights over the country, which is getting less and less in the past 45 hours. So it means sort of a strict application of that regulation mentioned by the organization. It could be for any reason, but for the time being, we're not aware of the exact details on that. It's coming from a civil, let's say, official. It's not a military official.
In fact, the Iranian Civil Aviation Authority reportedly issued a notice to Air Missions, NOTAM, signaling a military exercise in the western part of the country. However, this may not have just been a routine exercise. Could the airspace closure be part of a larger, secretive operation? Was it merely a precautionary move for military drills, or was there something more? You see, that very same weekend, on the 6th of October, at 10:45 p.m. local time to be precise, the University of Tehran's Seismography Center announced a 4.4 magnitude earthquake in the city of Ardan, Semnan province. Now, on the surface, it may seem like a natural event, but was this a coincidence or something else entirely? Something sinister.
They also say that the U.S. is not likely to provide direct military support to the operation. So it's not really a question of if Israel will attack, it's rather when and just how hard is it going to hit back.
Но, конечно же, если будут реализованы планы или угрозы атаки на мирные ядерные объекты Исламской Республики Иран, это будет очень серьезная провокация.
Look, where they're heading to right now, and Secretary Blinken, our Secretary of State, said, they're within like about 40 hours of a breakout, having the capacity to build a nuclear weapon. They're enriching uranium between 60 and 80%. You get to 80%, they call 90% enrichment as weapons grade, but you can enrich to 80% and you're going to get a bomb. You can do that. And once they get there, my experience has been in the White House under President Trump, is you treat a nuclear power significantly different than you treat a non-nuclear power.
Yeah.
And once they get to that level, there's going to be huge destabilization in the Middle East. The Saudis are going to want to have one. The Emiratis are going to have one. The whole region is going to be in a real state of turmoil and a real state of danger, not just for the region, but for the world as well.
What does Israel do about Iran's nuclear program? What do you think is going to happen? I think Israel needs to attack the Iran nuclear facilities. I believe that Israel is developing and has developed plans to attack the Iranian nuclear machine. And the reason why is because Israel cannot afford to have a nuclear capable Iran. We attacked the Iraqi nuclear reactors back in the 80s. We attacked, we preempt our self-defense lies and preemptive action. That is how we get in front of threats, and Israel's in the pocket right now. Israel just doesn't have the luxury to wait for Iran to get nuclear or to wait for political appeasement with the world. Appeasement has no place in counterterrorism. That's where I'm at with that.
Plus, look at the magnitude. It does not indicate a nuclear explosion. Also, Iran is very prone to earthquakes. So this could be just another one. Having said all of this, there is still one point that raises doubts, and that is the location of this quake. In 2019, a Washington-based think tank released a report. It said that Iran was building underground testing sites, and one likely location was Semnan, very close to the main city. So Iran is said to be building a testing site here. This report came out in 2019. Now, 5 years later, West Asia is on the edge. Iran has to prove its might, and on cue, an earthquake occurs at the very same place. So a lot of people joined the dots and said this must be a nuclear test. Of course, it's hard to prove. There isn't enough evidence. But does Iran have the capability to launch a test like this, and that too so quickly? How advanced is their nuclear program? They started working on it way back in the 1950s, and they had someone helping them, the United States. That's right, Iran's now arch rival was once a close friend that got their nuclear program up and running. All was well until 1979, but then the Iranian Revolution happened. America's friend, the Shah of Iran, was toppled, and Ayatollah Khomeini took over. Initially, he was opposed to nuclear power, so their program was paused, but it resumed in the 1980s. And this time, Iran got help from countries like Russia. In 2002, it was found that Tehran had secret nuclear facilities. It was pursuing weapons-grade uranium. So until 2015, Iran was sanctioned heavily for its uranium enrichment and for its lack of transparency. But then in 2015, a deal was signed, the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, better known as the Iranian Nuclear Deal. Iran signed it with the US, the UK, France, China, Russia, and Germany. Tehran promised to limit its nuclear program. In exchange, the others agreed to lift sanctions. And it worked fine until 2018. But then Donald Trump pulled the plug. He exited the pact, the nuclear deal fell apart. Iran started breaching its commitments and building its nuclear capacity. As of today, it has a few known nuclear sites. This is where they're located. Look at the map. It also has some secret facilities and enrichment capability to build warheads. Experts estimate that Iran can build a bomb in a week. So the big question is, have they done it already? Has Iran built a nuclear bomb? Honestly, we have no way to verify, just like we have no way to know for sure if the tremor was an earthquake or a nuclear test. Tehran will not come clean, but we do know that it does want a nuclear deterrent. And if it has the capability, this would be the best time to build it.